So very good morning to you all, and let us discuss this topic on Unit 3, which is called Organization-Wide Alignment Audits. Here we're going to see a very important topics, basics of predictive modeling. Let us deep dive into this topic, predictive modeling basics with respect to HR analytics. Now we need to understand, as we know that actually we're going to apply the DT design thinking framework for actually explaining this point. So it starts with this particular aspect of actually the empathy stage. So actually we need to understand the HR needs and what are the challenges by the process of empathy. Now, how do we do this is actually we need to interact with the HR professionals. We need to engage with them. And first of all, understand and grasp the various issues with respect to the workforce. Next is once we do this, we can identify a lot of pain points which are very common. For example, like the turnover, inefficiencies with respect to hiring, as well as the performance gaps. Now, third is we need to collect, once this is done, we need to collect the qualitative as well as quantitative data on the employee experiences, as well as the organization goals, because we're working on an analytical framework. So data is actually the foundation. That is the next step. So the next step, what we do is once we do all the pain points, we collect all the data and we need to convert it as a statement, because a problem statement narrows it down, defines it. Once we define a problem, what happens then it becomes more precise and it becomes more easy to develop a solution and test it and develop a model. So the next part is actually we need to define the problem statement based on the various pain points. So for example, this is an example of a problem statement. How can we, because there was a pain point that there was employee turnover. Now, how do we define as it, put it as a problem statement? As an example is shown below. How can we predict employee turnover to reduce attrition costs? Now, this is a very relevant framing of a problem statement, which is very relevant to the problem, is also very relevant to the business. So the focus here is now the problem here is very clear and it is very specific. And it is also coming under the HR domain, that is based on HR outcomes. And it's also important that it is aligned with the business priorities. Because if we talk about this problem here, it is definitely aligned with the business priorities, which is actually the retention, quality of the recruitment and employee engagement. So next, once we have defined the problem statement, we get into the ideate stage. Now, ideate stage, what we do is actually based on the problem statement, we employ we have to find out the solutions for the problem statements. So what we do is actually here we are going to use predictive modeling approaches. And before the first step here is we need to do brainstorm, where we actually understand the data, analyze the data in terms of demographics, the performance of the employees, and also engagement service. So once this is done, we have various predictive modeling techniques like regression, decision trees, and machine learning algorithms. So you want to use these particular predictive modeling techniques, and these will give you results. From there, we want to get insights. Okay. So that is actually how this predictive modeling is applied with respect to the DT idea stage. So next is actually the prototype part. Now, in the prototype part is once we have this ideation done, we have various solutions. Now, every solutions will have a different, it will have its own advantages, disadvantages. With respect to implementation, there will be a lot of challenges. So we're going to choose one particular solution which is actually meeting all the parameters, or which is closest to meeting all the parameters. So we're going to build an initial predictive model based on the particular solutions we arrived at, where we are going to use the data sets, and this particular model will have a visual dashboard as well. So that this is a visual dashboard is the best way to represent an output from the model. Here we're talking about a predictive model. Now, this is what is the prototype we are going to use in this prototype stage. And once the prototype is done, we need to test the prototype. We need to test the solution, the model which we have developed. Now, how do we do this is actually by using the 3 steps as it is shown here. We are going to validate and refine the models. So you're going to check the accuracy of the model with the historical data. So you're going to compare what is the prediction of the model with the already available data. So that will ensure that will actually tell us the accuracy of the model. And also this model, we have to take the feedback from the various users and who are actually going to implement this particular model. So we're going to take a feedback. And we need to iterate the model. Every model is definitely has a scope to improve. We need to improve the model so that the predictive power of the model is actually improve. And integrating, and once this model is developed, we are tested, we're going to integrate that with the HR operations. So that is where we need to train the staff, the HR staff, on training how do this model works, and very important is interpreting the model outputs, and what are the protocols which need to develop for putting it in practice, and also we need to do monitor the model on a regular basis and update as and when needed. So this is here the integrating with HR operations. Now, what are the benefits and challenges the predictive modeling brings to HR? Benefits is definitely your the retention is much improved and the hiring becomes very smarter, and we have a proactive workforce planning solution here. The challenge is the model bias. The bias can get into say the models. The data privacy is today is also very important, and change management in HR teams. So this is an example of a case study we have taken from the Harvard Business School, where the survey data for HR analytics is used to improve workforce management and decision making. And these are some of the references also we can do for additional reading. And this is the mind map of the entire thing we have already discussed. And to take away, these are the conclusions. So we're going to apply the various concepts of design thinking, and we're going to apply this predictive modeling for HR analytics. And thank you very much for very patient listening.